offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, I surrender. In sweet surrender. I'm going to ask you now, each of you, to, and you can take a moment or so to do this, to come to your knees. You don't have to see anything. You can turn your camera on or off. But you need to come to your knees now. I'm going to speak unto us about 12 different decrees. I will say them once, and if your heart is in agreement with this, then you'll say it again, and I will walk us through each one of them. So, we're going to begin with, I, Gillian, agree to honor my own sovereignty as a creational feminine being throughout the journey of all for love. And I'll say this slowly now for each of us. I, and you say your name, agree to honor my own sovereignty as a creational feminine being throughout the journey of all for love. It is my heart's desire to enter a journey of spiritual repair with mortal men and the cosmic masculine. It is my heart's desire to enter a journey of spiritual repair with mortal men and the cosmic masculine. I understand that the journey of feminine awakening contains within it deep paradox that my mind might not understand. I understand that the journey of feminine awakening contains within it deep paradox that my mind may not understand. I am ready to reclaim my birthright of trusting life. I am ready to reclaim my birthright of trusting life. I am ready to reclaim my birthright of recognizing and receiving the omniscient provision of the cosmic masculine. I am ready to reclaim my birthright of recognizing and receiving the omniscient provision of the cosmic masculine. I choose to participate in this journey for myself foremost. And by organic law, I recognize that I will be healing the generational line forward and back. I choose to participate in this journey for myself foremost. And by organic law, I recognize that I will be healing the generational line forward and back. There is nothing for me to do. There is nothing for me to do. It is through my faith, my beingness, and feminine embodiment that I will receive and radiate these codes of grace and healing. It is through my faith. It is through my beingness. It is through my feminine embodiment that I will receive and radiate these codes of grace and healing. I am willing to accept that the most important thing I can do in my journey of feminine awakening is to forgive myself again and again. I give myself permission to accept that the most important thing I can do in my journey of feminine awakening is to forgive myself again and again and again. I am willing to forgive myself for all the ways I did not know how to honor myself, love myself, and therefore I brought my own wounding into relationships with those I love. I am willing to forgive myself for all the ways I did not know how to honor myself, to love myself, and therefore brought my own wounding to relationships with those I love. In the name of love, I am willing to lay my wounding, my pain body, and my fears on the altar of love. In the name of love, I am willing to lay my wounding, my pain body, and my fears on the altar of love. I am willing to meet this journey of feminine remembrance with profound gravitas and with laughter and sweetness and play. I am willing to meet this journey of feminine remembrance with profound gravitas and with sweetness and laughter and play. I am willing to co-create and share a field of feminine graciousness, grief, celebration, and healing. I am willing to co-create and share a field of feminine graciousness, grief, celebration, and healing. I am ready to let my precious feminine self emanate love and be loved sweetly and deeply. I am ready to let my precious feminine self emanate love and be loved sweetly and deeply. Last one. I give myself permission to open wide for it all. Sweetness, sex, desire, money, love, eros, and the marrow deep knowing that the world is waiting to be ravished by my deepest medicine. I give myself permission to open wide for it all. Sweetness, sex, desire, money, love, eros, and the marrow deep knowing that the world is waiting to be ravished by my deepest medicine. Taking a moment in stillness in this ancient posture of devotion. Feeling the thousands of women who have come to this position across millennia, this devotional posture, to offer their hearts and their love to creation, to God, to Goddess. And that when we come to our knees in devotion, it is like a human feminine mantra of embodying our desire and our prayer and our eternal innocence. When we come to our knees, we do so because we place something above us that we offer our devotion to. So I will not name this for you, but for each of you, this is the place that we will come to ask for something greater than our own human selves to hold us in our awakening journeys again and again and again. You may rise and come to rejoin the field. It is so nice to see so many beauties in the house. Okay, ladies. Welcome to All for Love. I will share that today, and this will start to make sense, today is going to be like the most improvisational of all the 12 sessions because I am attuning very dynamically to like what's sort of in the house, so to speak. Today, the transmission that we're going to be dropping into is called the Metaphysics of Penetration. So we are starting advanced double black diamond player style with dropping right into the metaphysics of penetration. I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to create a transmission, and then I'm going to speak a little bit right now before we climb into kind of like the actual transmission of today, to sharing with you, like I'm going to speak into your systems so that your systems can kind of relax. And for those of you that are like mental gate centric, like you have a lot of intellect and or vigilance. I'm going to speak into your systems a little bit so that you know where we're going. So, as I said, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer a transmission about the metaphysics of penetration. This is a very, there's some edginess in this. I mean, we're talking about penetration. Of course, there's some edginess in this. And it's like there's a way that this is going to start to kind of set a tone or a frequency of what we're doing inside of this experience. I am highly receptive in the group. So if you have questions, put the questions in there, tag me. Again, this does not mean 100% that I'm going to come in and answer your question, but if it's in my desire and if I sense it's in service to the field, I will totally climb in. And so like that's a really beautiful way as like a secondary layer, because I will just tell you, ladies, PS, like you're going to get worked in this journey. Like things are going to come up that like aren't going to feel great along the way. And so this is the place to like share. I will also say, and I know that you signed this in the waiver, but I'm going to get real clear around this. By you agreeing to being in the All for Love journey, you are agreeing to receiving my reflections, my adjustments, my corrections. I teach from a lens of what I call, no, I do not call it. It is called edification, which is what I learned from the great pastor T.D. Jakes. And he talks about edification as, well, this is what it means. It means the process of spiritual or moral instruction. And so this is what that journey is. So if you don't want feedback from me or reflection or energetic adjustment or correction, say that, like really be clear, like that you're just sharing, because otherwise, and I'm going to just be transparent about this, like I am so loving, and you will see this is super playful, but we are also touching places of like archaic density and stuckness in our own system. And so I, because I've lived inside of all these places, oh gosh, am like a heat-seeking missile or a heat-seeking, missile. Wait, that's way too much of like a militaristic. Like the words that I normally use is like, I am like a shadow huntress. So I am going to be like scanning the All for Love tundra for places of that density and stuckness that exists inside of our own systems at the level of patterns or behaviors. And I'm going to like come and kind of touch that spot or lift that spot up into consciousness, because not until something is lifted up into consciousness can we have this thing. And I spoke about this in the welcome video called differentiation. We are making the unconscious conscious. When that happens, you have something called choice. And when you have choice, you have something called power. And so that is why this journey of like coming for those places of density or stuckness or like patterns that no longer serve, like it is in highest service of love, but the ego is likely going to feel like a bit whacked. So we really need to use together the All for Love field to like move through these pieces. Okay, just speaking to that. And so just remember that I said all those things as we like climb in together. And I'm a big storyteller, not because I ever really like to center my own experience, because I really don't like to center my own experience, but because it illuminates, first of all, my own journey, which I think is helpful, and it illuminates in lived experience the teaching principles that I am going to be like inserting into this journey. The human psyche loves story. It is a very ancient way of like transmitting codes and information and lived experience. The feminine body loves story. So that's why I will weave in
story, and even mythology and some fairy tales throughout this entire journey. So today is an informal story. I'm not going to, but okay, this is the story. And Max has shared this, and I have shared this a little bit in my group, but I'm going to tell you the story of, or aspects of the story of creating feminine eros, which is the brand that holds All for Love. And as I tell this story, I want you to feel the places where you're like, oh, I know that part of myself. Oh, I know that move. I know that, like that quality or that pattern within me, because this is how we are going to journey this content together. I'm also going to say that the reason that each one of you is here, like you could be doing a lot of things with this time, with this money, with this investment on all levels, but you're choosing to be here. And I'm going to tell you why. You are choosing to be here because, and I have a few notes about this that came to me that just felt so beautiful that I wanted to like speak directly to you. Give me 1 second here. Oh, this is what I wrote this morning down by the creek, like, or kind of in the late last night. Okay, so the reason, I'm just going to spill the beans to your soul, that each of you is here is because, like, at the level of soul essence, you are mystically stained with devotion. That's the truth of who you are. And you're gonna have to get right with that, ladies. You're going to have to get right with that, because that changes the path of your life when you can be in conscious relationship to that quality of who you are at the level of soul. And you chose in this lifetime to have whatever experiences that have happened to you, body or soul, to nonetheless be like returned to that truth. That you, at the level of soul, at the deepest essence of your feminine nature, are mystically stained with devotion. And that devotion exists. I teach this as the 3 faces of devotion. That devotion exists in 3 ways. And some of these, and we will discover this in this journey together, are going to be easier for you to hold and like have that reckoning with. And other aspects of this are going to be like more organic to your nature. The 3 ways that you are going to be, that you come undone in your devotion is actually you are completed. It's not that you come undone, you are completed by these qualities of devotion. Devotion to yourself. Devotion to your highest expression, your most potent radiance, your most effulgent opening. So that flower in its lifetime got to actually be like its full masterpiece. That sounds easy. Like, oh, I love myself. Oh, I'm devoted to myself. But let me tell you, when you are coded how you are coded, and this will be different for each of you, and I do not mean to like overlay a truth onto you. Actually, this is a good, everything I say, you choose through your full mastery of your highest knowing, your own sovereignty and your own consent, that which you will bring into your own being as true. Anything else you like throw on the pyre. So devotion to self. The first time, well, let me say that in a second. The second way, the second face of devotion, devotion to God, devotion to life, devotion to Jesus, devotion to Buddha, devotion to like whatever it is that we place above us that allows our devotion. Devotion is a very high heart frequency. It flows upward. That means that in order to experience devotion, we have to place something above us. This is a deep, beautiful, and complex feature of devotion. And we're doing a whole thing on devotion. This is like the devotion amuse-bouche. Third way, third face of devotion, devotion to him, devotion to the masculine, devotion to the imperfect mortal man, or devotion to the cosmic masculine. This, and I will share this, when I ran or held the first version, tiny little incubator of All for Love, with, I call them my test bunnies, magical group, actually all of whom are here. I, in a very brilliant move, unbeknownst to my own self, assigned two practices in the same week. One was I taught a radiant breast massage, like this heart activating breast massage with very beautiful rose oil. And in the same week, I gave them a practice of beginning to write down a note of appreciation every day to a man that they love. This was so brilliant because literally half the ladies were like, oh yeah, I'm so good with that breast massage. Like they could get all into their devotion to themselves and their love for themselves and their heart opening, but they would not write the letter or the note of appreciation. They were like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Or if they would do it, it was so confronting for them. Like it was a whole big process. And the other half was like, oh yeah, oh my God, I love pouring my devotion into men. I can write those letters and like those little notes all day long, but they would not do the breast massage. And I was like, oh, this is so brilliant, because what we are seeing is that there's certain dimensions of devotion that it's like, that's super, like there's a lot of coherence and alignment for us. But the other dimensions of it, it's like, oh, there's so much resistance, or like we do it, but like we're kind of like having to kind of push ourselves into that experience. So when I talk about these three faces of devotion, and we are going to be doing like a very deep tunneling into these aspects, like more specifically, but it's going to get very interesting to notice for each one of you individually, like, where is that easeful? Where is it like, oh God, I love writing those letters. I love pouring my devotion into him. I love those evocations. I love how that feels. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, let's talk about the devotion to the self. And then it gets like real squirrely real fast. So these are going to be like deep, deep weavings that we'll be exploring together. So continuing with the notes. You are mystically stained with devotion. You are the oracles, the muses, oh, kind of especially the muses, I must say, and the lover priestesses, and the daughters of kings. And you are here, each of you, because you heal with your love. You heal with your love. I'll say it differently. Your love heals. And this is not a codependent, fragmented, shadow-complected version of love. This is a very specific frequency. I know that this field right here, right now, and the ladies who aren't able to attend live but will be chiming in, watching the recordings, I am literally dealing with a very elite rarefied feminine frequency on this planet. And so with this like highly coded feminine being that each of you are and chose in this lifetime, there is great responsibility. And there is great creational capacity in the truth of this expression. And so I am going to be with you in a full recognition of our like soul kinship. And so for that reason, and this is very much the process of a feminine emergent journey, like this has a lot of flat, like not flatness, this is non-hierarchical is what I'm trying to say. Like I trust your mastery. I trust your remembrance. We will be like with your full consent, as I said, kind of driving into those places, those depths of remembrance. But like, I know who you are. I'm very aware of my bat signal. I still need a better term. And so for those of you that like heard that and like, this was not that obvious, like kind of crawled through the hinterlands to get here, it's because you belong here. And because we have work to do together. Okay. A few more pieces in this. So I had to write like a proper sales page for this situation, journey of all for love, which is a really big experience. But in that, they asked me like, Gillian, what is your why? What is your big why? And I was like, really? Like, this is how we're gonna roll, that someone's gonna ask me this question. But oh my gosh, what I loved about this is like what came flying out of my mouth. And I began to discover this in All for Love. The first All for Love, the little All for Love one, I guess we'll call it, was like this work that I do is for the families. I always thought that this work that I did was like for you, for the women. And it is, of course, but like the deeper thrust that lives inside my own heart is like, this work is for the families, for each of you that have children and each of you that will have children. Because, and this is a teaching principle we will touch more deeply, when a skillful feminine practitioner, which I will non-egoically acknowledge myself to be, has access to the feminine inside of any system. And by system, I mean relationship, dyadic relationship of two, larger, more complex relational structures, family, community, company, like ecosystem. That system will change because it is the feminine who carries, who embodies the tone, let's call it, this is more intellectual than I mean, the psycho-emotional tone. So and to say it more like, who embodies the love. She is the love. So when we can do the work of uncovering, and this is scar work, when we can do this work of uncovering and kind of like softening those places of calcification and the places that have become fossilized, the places where she's become impenetrable, that entire system will change. And this again is the creational potency that is the feminine through her embodiment. This is why I say to you, there is nothing for you to do. This isn't through your workings terrestrially. This is through your embodiment and your being. So when a woman who already is a mama or is going to have children or stepchildren or is kind of a great mother archetype, when she goes on this journey of like deep remembrance of the truth of who she is and returns to this frequency of like feminine love, that whole system changes, which means that that woman as a mother, when she begins to heal her relationship to the truth of who she is, the truth of her own feminine nature, by organic law, extension, by causal reality, she begins to heal her relationship to the masculine. Because true and whole feminine essence is a healed, devotional expression of love, including, and I may say secretly, especially to men in the masculine. Benevolent men in the masculine, something. And so when those codes inside those two beings come together, and there is a family, there is young little systems or grown systems that are held in that canopy and that umbrella of love and of profound respect that flows from her to him and deep cherishing that flows from him to her. Those little systems get coded. It's like they get saturated in something so beautiful. And so I know it sounds small, like, oh, for the families, like, shouldn't this be for? And I'm like, no, it is for those families, future families, and families that already exist, because those children, they're our future. And things have become so lost and so corrupted in these broad bands of consciousness that if we in our own individual like expression and beingness can like open into that whole state of remembrance and radiate from that, it's literally like, it's not like, it is literally as so the world spaces that you exist inside of become healed because of the truth of who you are and because of your love. And so that's what I say, like, you heal through your love. And I don't even want to get this word heal is tricky because it means like, I don't want you to be in this karmic loop of feeling like, oh, we have to heal, we have to heal. No, it's like, we have to actually, the word heal, I'll share with you. I don't remember exactly how to say this. Wait, healed. Helios? I'm going to forget the exact word, but it's like a Greek word. And literally, heal comes from, etymologically, is sourced in the wellspring of wholeness. So when I talk about your healing, it is not some like, oh, you have to like do stuff to fix yourself. We are not doing that karmic loop here. It is like, oh, we are going in and remembering our wholeness. Okay. Checking in on comments and things like that, but so far so good. Are there any questions? Anything happening in the house? Oh, you're supposed to raise, if anyone has any questions or comments, I think you're supposed to do like a, gosh, I don't have these pieces yet. Like there's a button to raise your hand and it's blue. But because I can't see everyone in one screen. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say we're good and we're gonna keep going. I'm going back to my notes for 1 second. Please stand by. Okay. Oh, I see. Thank you. Okay. Little story. This is not a big elaborate story, but I've written about this in the Facebook group. So Max put out like a big splashy Facebook post where he was like, the love child of Max and Gillian or something like that. And it was about feminine eros, which is our company. And he wrote this really great activating post. And I read that and I was like, that is all true. Everything he said is all true. But what Max didn't say very lovingly, and I did spill a little bit of these beans in the feminine eros, the Facebook group, was like the level of my thrashing, the level of my resistance, the level that these ancient, archaic, like avatars or archetypes that live inside us of like the independent woman, the daughter of the single mother, like the eldest daughter in a family of a single mother, highly parentified. That I literally, and this is the great gift of the masculine, and I am jumping way ahead to like an more advanced spot in this course, is that the benevolent masculine in his highest expression, all right, I'm going to say this. He is like an angel of death. He comes and with his full love and his full devotion, he literally like takes drives a stake of like the light of consciousness through our heart. And we are killed over and over again. And that is the great gift of the masculine, when we can splay ourselves open and allow him to do his rightful soul purpose of like killing our shadows, killing our places of smallness. And I know I'm using tough words or like activating words here, because this is not an act of anything other than like a sacred administration of death to versions of self that must die in order for us, and this is what we are born to do, ladies, to dilate, open, to birth a version of self that can like hold the truth of our destiny and hold the truth of our dharma. And so in this journey of birthing this company, Max, and this is true for the masculine, so this is the way stories go. Like I attempt to tell the story, but I'm going to be illuminating the teachings inside of it. The masculine carries the sight. The masculine, I could even say like, is the vision. There's a way, and we can hear this in the very ancient myth of Ulysses, where he tied himself to the mast. He tied himself to the mast to get through the stormy seas and past the Isle of the Sirens. The sirens are like singing their songs of seduction. And all along this Isle of the Sirens, there's the skulls of men that succumbed to their like sweet song of seduction. And so Ulysses put oiled cotton into his ears, and he had his men strap him high to the mast. This is where we get this expression, you tie yourself to the mast when you are on mission, when you are on sacred purpose. This is like a deep masculine code. So the masculine sees in the like solarized light, he sees the timelines. He sees like what is ahead, and he knows how to navigate like past these treacherous kind of straits. The feminine, it's like, I really feel, and I've said this and it's sort of a funny thing, it's like we, as much as we are like priestess, we are truffle pig. Like we track the scent of something. We see, and this is the nature of our oracle, we see in the dark. We track the scent. And it's like, so we're in a very different, like creational quality than the masculine. And so Max had the vision. He saw, like he received or saw the vision for this, even for All for Love. And like, and this, I'm going to use a lot of erotic language because throughout All for Love, but it's like, this is where the nature of masculine leadership literally like inserts his sight into us. He inserts his sight. He inserts the vision into us. And this process is highly penetrative. And this can be encapsulated into many, many different experiences. Like I'm just giving one story for us to be able to map the topography into our own lived experience. And so I closed my legs. I thrashed. I resisted so deeply because I was inside these ancient, archaic, highly ancestral, in my wounded feminine line of my own particular family, like my bloodline. This insertion of his sight, these codes of his vision. And so this journey of receiving the sight and arriving at the place of willingness that allowed me to be seated with this, and we're going to talk a lot about seating too, is like the feminine nature of creation itself. But the amount that I thrashed and that I resisted, and I wrote in the Facebook group that I like splattered the walls with my like story of, oh, I can do this myself. These layers of arrogance, these layers of entitlement and arrogance. I wanted his help, but I wanted his help the way I wanted his help. That doesn't actually go down so hot with like potent masculine men, particularly when they carry warrior codes. And I was so grateful for every time he was like, no, Gillian, like you don't get this the way like that feels super comfortable for you. That is not the nature of, and let me also say, when I say like I resisted and I closed my legs, I am talking metaphorically, and this is all consensual. I am so thrusted beyond what's comfortable for me, 100%. But this isn't like anything like violating. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to say that, but just to like be clear for the collective listening. And so the whole time that this is happening, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am living the density and the shadow that is so encoded in the teachings of the metaphysics of penetration. So what I'm going to tell you, ladies, is that as women in this lifetime, you desperately need to be penetrated. And so much so, and I include myself in this 100%, that when I am not having my like upstanding, rightful needs for penetration met, I will, and the feminine will go to great lengths through the shadow channel to have those needs for penetration met. And that is why, and I'm going to say this, and that is one reason why we had something like 13 million women, 13 million women courageously raising their hands in #MeToo. And that is, I am not dismissing the truthful and harmful footprint of the distorted masculine on our energy fields, and sometimes very literally on our bodies. But there is also a deeper thing inside of that. There is a deeper truth. When we see a zeitgeist of that level, then we have to have, once again, a deeper reckoning, and it is always both. I am not emancipating men from any harmful footprint that they've created upon us, body or soul. But there is also, speaking of weaving, also we can weave in a deeper truth. Because one of the ways that the feminine feels penetration is through violation. Highly, highly penetrating experience for women. And I'm not just talking physical at all. So I share this through the introduction of contrast to say that this experience with Max was not that. But it's important for us to understand when we are talking about highly polarized experiences that like place of quivering, like edge in some ways. Because I was taken massively beyond preference and beyond comfort and a little bit like pulled, those like, like pulled into down the hill by my ponytail, and it was rightful and highly penetrating. Okay, so we're going now to speak into this idea of penetration. Penetration, and I have to, it keeps going off. I have a few little technical adjustments I'm going to have to make for number 2. Okay. So I'm going to start with sharing. So we're going into like the transmission right now. Let me just see. That's so beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Okay, the metaphysics of penetration. So we're going to start with where I always start, and that is, in the beginning was the word. Penetration. This is so beautiful. Penetration and the etymology of penetration, it literally means, oh my God, this is gorgeous, to place within the innermost part of a temple. The innermost part of a temple. And you can totally look this up. It also means the ability to discern deeply and astutely. This is a very interesting word and frequency. So to place within, to stick something inside of something else, AKA the innermost part of a temple, the ability to discern deeply and astutely. penetration encompasses all of these codes. And so the reason why penetration, and the reason why I talk about penetration as a metaphysical principle, is because learning how to receive and open into penetration is the feminine's highest creational capacity. Penetration for the feminine is like a creational experience for her. Again, I'm not just talking about sex at all. Life is a highly penetrative experience. Things come at us from all directions. And Carolyn Elliott, in her great book, Existential Kink, which I highly recommend, P.S., she says, and I'm still paraphrasing all these things, but close enough, life is a sadistic dom and there is no safe word. It's more than that, but it is that too. So we have life itself as this like sadistic dom, making us do all kinds of stuff that we have all kinds of mixed feelings about, and there is no safe word. That is the nature of penetration. That is the nature of penetration. Okay. Semi-sidebar that's going to connect. When I talk about any codes of the masculine, they are also, there may be exceptions, but I'm going to not dwell on the exceptions right now. This is all applicable to money. If I'm talking about the masculine, it is applicable to money. And that is because money and the masculine share very similar energetics, nearly identical. And I will give one quick example to ground this, and then I'm going to keep climbing into penetration. So I don't want to just say like randomly, like, oh, men and money share the same energetics, because without giving you like some little anchoring into why, and we will go into this more deeply as well. So one little secret golden key to this is this word or this concept or this enactment, offering of this thing called appreciation. One secret little key to help illuminate this. When we have money very well positioned in some kind of financial institution situation, we say, we say our money is appreciating. It is growing bigger. It is erecting. It is like thriving. Very similar thing with the masculine psyche. When we offer to a man, masculine psyche, our appreciation, his capacity for mastery, rightful benevolent leadership, attunement to us, to life, it grows bigger, it erects, it thrives. So, in the same way that I talk about the way that we have this need and this like kind of desperate need for penetration from the masculine, and this is within and without. There's deep codes around provision in this that I will deepen into as well as we climb into this journey. It's the same thing about money. Penetration is like our receivership and the dilating of our channel of reception, which means how we receive, is so that we can be penetrated more deeply by men or money. And so that's why, and this is going to be a tiny bit, like, not snarky, but I'm just going to confess, like, you know, in social media, when you have, and there might be some in the house, and so I say this really lovingly, but you know, when you have those ladies, they're coaches and they're on like the rented yachts with the champagne, and they have maybe the golden balloons that's like 1 million, like the 1M. It's like a tiny bit easy, at least for me, totally confessing, to judge that a little bit as like, oh, that's maybe like a little tacky or something. But let me say that I honor those women, because even though, like, if it's not the right vibe for me, I am like, damn, I appreciate your capacity to receive penetration of money, that you have dilated your system enough to be able to receive significant amounts, whatever this is for us, significant air quoting, of money. That in and of itself is a form of penetration. That in and of itself is a way that we must expand and dilate our own receivership channel in order to receive the penetration of money. We need to receive through the like codex of penetration, through the energetic of penetration, our own desire. Our own desire. If we cannot be penetrated by our own desire, literally our desire is like in mystical creational service to the world. And if we become calcified, and if we become impenetrable, non-penetrating-able, we literally cannot be penetrated with our own desire. And therefore, we miss the fullest expression of being in, as I said, mystical service to the world. Because our desire and our capacity to be penetrated by our own desire is designed by law, organic law, spiritual law, to expand us, to open us, to dilate us spiritually. Actually, in all ways. So, I'm going to go back here for a quick second. So, as I was saying before, there's always going to be like these three faces. I talked about the three faces of devotion: to self, to God, creator, source, to life, and to Him. Masculine, terrestrial, or cosmic. Same thing about penetration. We are penetrated by our own desires. We are penetrated by Him, His cock, His presence, His vision, His sight. And this one is maybe like a little more, but like we're penetrated by life itself. We are penetrated by life itself. I was listening to T.D. Jakes this morning, and he was saying that like when God kind of like entered him, and I was like, oh yeah, that in the innermost temple, like that's so beautiful to be entered unto by life itself. So this idea of the metaphysics of penetration exists spiritually, creationally, mystically, sexually. And so this journey that we are going to be on together already are, burning the boats behind us, is a journey of like gently expanding and dilating so that we can receive ever more infinite penetration. I had an experience in lovemaking. I've had this several times where it's like there's a point in lovemaking where I can receive my lover. This has happened two different lovers in my life. Infinitely. I can receive his cock beyond my physical form. And this is the secret to that too, is because lingam, like the tantric Vedic word for phallus, wand of light. And that's so true. We can receive the wand of light. We can receive those light frequencies infinitely. It is the same thing in all domains of our life. When we can open, dilate, we can receive the penetration. We can receive the penetration into the innermost temple of our being. Whatever that is for us, we can look at this in different ways. Womb, creational, creational yesness with life. Okay, I'm going to go down through my notes a little bit more to make sure. Okay, and I'm actually going to just like read some notes just so I can like make sure that I handle or like deliver unto our field these pieces. The metaphysics of penetration. Life is penetrating. Life comes at us with all different kinds of experiences and twists and turns and intensity and things and experiences that like shoot us out so fast beyond our own preference and our own comfort. And part of the way that we meet life, reality, is that we open to receive its penetration. This is how we grow and expand. Men and the masculine are designed, coded, and built for penetration. I'm going to say a thing here. This is reserved also for later, but you know, as we do. Part of the reason that this work is so important is because if we don't trust, okay, listen to what I just said. Life is penetrating. Reality in whatever dimensional playground of our own consciousness we like live inside of. It is penetrating. Next sentence, and listen to what's happening here. Men and the masculine are designed, coded, and built to penetrate the feminine. Do you hear the equivalency? Life is penetrating. Men and the masculine are built, designed, and coded to penetrate the feminine. Life is penetrating. Men and the masculine are designed, built, and coded to penetrate the feminine. Do you hear the equivalency? I will name this for you. The masculine is the archetypal proxy for life itself. If you do not trust men and the masculine, you cannot trust life itself. You will live your precious life feeling unsafe, unprovided for, and unprotected. Because through that equivalency, we can see that unless and until we trust life, we cannot trust men and the masculine. Flipped. Unless and until we trust men and the masculine, we cannot fully trust life. This is why we do this work. This is the deep sacrality, that which is sacred about the truth of penetration. And about the truth of the rightness and the goodness of the co-creational, the God seed of the masculine. And of life itself, exactly as it is. Okay. So, what I said earlier may penetrate you a little more deeply now. Learning how to receive penetration is the highest creational expression of the feminine. New life. Literally is created by our capacity multidimensionally to receive penetration. So, avoiding penetration, and I just really need to be clear here, I'm not talking about sex, because sex is always consensual. but I'm talking about like the metaphysics of sex. Avoiding penetration. This is the equivalency. Avoiding penetration is avoiding life. Where we have resistance to the penetration of life, that is called avoidance. I told you in this story with Max, highly, highly penetrative, activating, extremely uncomfortable. Many month journey for me. I closed my metaphorical legs so many times. I closed to the seeding of life. Really, all I wanted was like a flower garden. I just would beg, please, can I just sell flowers? Like a little flower stand somewhere, Hawaii. I had to slowly, slowly dilate and open to receive penetration, to receive the insertion of masculine sight. This is not, I know I'm speaking literally right now. This goes all the way up. Terrestrial man, cosmic masculine, Holy Father, God. Whatever that is for you. We'll talk more about that. So, we do so many things to avoid penetration. I talk about it with myself when I'm throwing I'm like, oh my God, I'm like the matador. Like so many things. I'm like, but look over here. And I like shake the like distracting sparkle red thing or whatever I've got. I'll shake whatever I've got to like make him look over there. God, whoever. Because I'm like, oh, please just look over here. Please just look over here. It looks good over here. It's like decoy to avoid the penetration. So part of what we're going to be doing is like, you ladies are going to be spilling the beans. I'm so excited. Where are you avoiding penetration? AKA, where are you in resistance to life itself? Because you are trying to close your legs or do that matador move or seduce or distract or pimp out your desires, outsource. We have all the moves. It's just that all those moves aren't in service to the expression, the mystical service of you being penetrated by your desire. So that's going to be fun. Okay, I think I'm coming to completion with the Metaphysics of Penetration adventure. All right, so that feels like a hot question for me, for you, for me. Where are you avoiding? Where are you resisting penetration? Oh, I mean, like, I want to hear. Let's hear a few examples of like when I talk about this. What are you like? Oh man, like I know I got that one move I'm doing to avoid the penetration. I am closing my legs. Life is not going to seed me. I would rather close my legs than receive that. And it's true. It's like for feminine women, it's either terrestrial cock of a man or it is sky daddy cock. That's all it is. That's why penetration is like our deepest need, desperate, a little bit like a spasming creature inside of us. Because it's either God cock, God. It's a tough one for me. I'm not that tough, actually. Mm-hmm. So it's either God cock, sky daddy cock, or imperfect mortal man.
Hello, ladies. A beautiful journey to take with you all. So I'm going to offer some embodied integration to allow our systems to begin to metabolize and digest all of these beautiful transmissions and teachings and everything that's been awakened in your system. So I'm aware that we're all in different locations. Some people are in cars, some people are outside, some people are indoors. So just creating yourself spaciousness if that's available for you. So if you can come down onto the ground or you have a cushion, that would be really helpful to start grounding your energies down into the earth. If you are in a car, that's okay. Just try and do your best with the movements, and I'll offer some adjustments where needed. So obviously just allowing yourself to take the space that you can. If it's available to you, come down to the ground, come on the floor, and allow yourself to arrive in a cross-legged position. I'm going to invite you all slowly and gently to begin closing your eyes down. And we're going to invite our energy to begin entering into our internal realms. Hands are just resting on your knees. And you're inviting yourself to come home, to arrive in your temple, in your sanctuary. Taking some nice, natural breath as you begin the descent into the feminine body. Some nice, soft, gentle breath. We want to create and cultivate spaciousness inside of you. Just inviting yourself to meet and touch anything that's been stirred or awakened for you through this journey. Resting gently on your breath. And finding stillness here. Slowly and gently, I'd like to invite you to bring one hand over your heart space and one hand over your womb space just below your navel center. And we're drawing and bringing the hands onto the body to anchor your energy, your frequency inside of you. We're bringing and inviting you home into your inner temple. And I'd like to slowly and gently invite you to begin making circular motions with your hips and your pelvis. Your chest is moving, and we're going to begin spiraling the energy through your central column. Nice, gentle breath. And through this beautiful posture and movement, we're inviting all of the codes, all of the transmissions, everything that's been kissed alive within you to begin digesting in your body. And we're inviting all of this energy down through your system, down into your womb space. And if there's any sounds that want to be released, just inviting yourself to be curious with the movement, with the breath, with the sound. Very slowly and gently coming back into stillness, coming back into a central position. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you to inhale. And as you inhale, I'd like this breath to enter you from the earth. The breath is coming in through the earth gates, in through the yoni, and rising up through your system. Let's inhale deeply together, drawing that penetration in from the earth, through your central column, into your body. Hold and suspend the breath. Squeeze your anus up and in. Squeeze your sexual organs. And exhale, soften the yoni, soften the anus. And let yourself ground down into the earth. Through this beautiful journey that we've taken together, lots of parts, different parts of ourselves, it's touched, activated, woke, maybe inflamed or triggered. And we want to allow our systems to know that it's safe to feel. It's safe to experience all of you. I'd like you, if possible, to bring and splay your arms out and open. Inhaling, opening your heart, opening your throat, dropping your head back. Inhaling in this position, opening to this new expansion, this rebirthing process. And exhale, wrapping your arms around yourself. Chin comes down to the chest as you gently embrace. Inhale deeply, opening the arms, the chest, opening the neck and the throat. Exhale, self-embrace, going at your own pace and speed. I'd like you to continue with this movement, continue with this breath as you expand and open, and then hold, continue.
Samba Sada Shiva Hara Shambho.
Gently and gracefully on your next inhale, open yourself to the penetration of this course. All for love. Open and splay your arms out. Your throat is open, receiving the penetration of the codes of all for love. And exhaling, wrapping your arms around yourself in a beautiful embrace. Feeling your fullness. Allowing yourself to experience all that's been touched. If you have the space and you are able, I would love to invite you down onto your back to rest yourself on the ground, if that's available to you. If it's not, just allow yourself to rest back and down into your seat and bring your hands to connect to your body, so that your energy anchors you deeply into yourself and into a state and energy of embodied integration. Your hands may wish to trace your body, your skin, your energy, finding a posture and movement that feels nourishing for your body, that feels loving. A posture and a movement that allows you to celebrate your yes, your desire to enter this portal of all for love. And this is the posture that we will leave you in. A posture for you to hold yourself. Thank you.